Hello, soulmates. Welcome to the Honest Academy. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome and thank you. If you're a new person, please do well to subscribe and turn on the notification button for more videos. Welcome. Okay, in this video, we're going to be looking at how to draft an underbust corset. Yes, the underpost corset that we all know, but there's something special about this one. So after drafting an underbust corset, we're going to be adding a cage art by the side of. I think we all know what a cage art is. At least it is there on the thumbnail. Okay, we're going to be adding a cage art by the two sides of the corset, right? So what we're going to do here now is to transfer our pattern to a working pattern. This is more like a master pattern. We're going to transfer it to another paper. And in case you do not know how to transfer, I've made a video on how to do so. Please kindly do watch it. The link is in the description button, or you just click what is showing. Okay, so let's proceed to transferring our pattern to another pattern to make it easier for us so that we can keep this particular one. All right, so we do it. So here I've transferred the pattern to another pattern and I stopped at the waistline, but you can see that I kept allowance below. That's because the underbust corset is not going to be stopping at the waistline. I'll need to extend it, and that's why I kept allowance below, right? You can still do this on a full pattern, but I chose to do it this way. You can also follow me and do it like this. It's just going to be very beautiful and fine. So let's go to our measurements. Now at the bust line, we're going to be going in by 1/2 inch. You can choose to make it higher, but this is where I want this one to stop, right? You can choose to make it a bit higher or a bit below, okay? So we'll mark 1/2 inch, and on the under bust we'll also mark 1/2 inch, but that is optional. It's not so necessary. The upper part is more important. Okay, so I've ruled the line connecting the two together, and at our under bust we want to make it firm and fitted, and so we need to widen the dart to hold it properly. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to measure the circumference of our under bust, which is divided by 4, and mark. Now, after marking that, we're going to measure what is left from that point to our full body's measurement by the side. Okay, so we're going to measure what is left, and whatever is left, either 1 inch, 1.5 inch, or thereabout, we're going to be adding it, use it to widen our under bust. You can decide to share it equal, or you can decide to make one to be bigger. And of course, the one that will be bigger is your left hand side and not the CF side. I hope you understand. So assuming I have 1.5 inch left, at the CF side I'll add 1/2 inch. At the left hand side I'm going to add 1 inch. So I will use my curve to connect it to the bust point, just the way you saw it. All right. So next to do, I want to widen the waist part. What we have here is 1 inch, but I want it to be 1.5 inch. So I'm going to add extra 1/2 inch to that leg that we have and connect it to the under bust. And then connect the other part just the way you're seeing it. Okay, so our dart is ready. We need to curve our bust. Now with the help of your curve, you're going to be curving from that 1/2 inch that you went in at the bust point to the under bust. This is how you place your curve and curve it right, exactly the way it is. This is just like a normal corset. The difference is just that it will not have the bust. So at this part, we're measuring 1.5 inch, 1.5 inches, right? And that is more like a standard for going into curve the bust part. So we're still going to connect it the way we did at the CF side from the under bust to the 1.5 inches. Okay. Like I was saying, this is just like a normal corset. The difference is that we're not going to be cutting the bust area. Okay, so at the waistline, for a normal under bust corset, we're going to be coming down by 2 inches. But I'm going to alter this as we proceed, and you're going to know why I altered it. But just have it at the back of your mind that for a normal corset, you should come down by ½ inch so that it can at least have a good shape. The purpose of corset is to make your waist to be smaller. So at this point, I came down by 5 inches because I needed to have a basque effect. So I'll use my curve and connect it. I needed to have a basque effect, and this is how it should be, right? Please don't forget to rule your CF line. You can see that the pattern did not start exactly at the CF line, so still minus what we have there. So for the back, we want to tighten the back from the that leg, right? For you to do this, just use the guide ½ inch to connect the lines. You can see I didn't measure it, but it is ½ inch after everything. Okay, you can see where I'm connecting from. When you measure it, it's going to give you ½ inch. Even if you should start from below, let the upper part be tightened by ½ inch, except otherwise. Okay, that's confirmation of ½ inch. So we proceed. The back has already been, the CB has already been tightened. You know, we transferred, and so I didn't transfer the excess or the part that was removed. I only transferred what is needed. So at this part, you can choose to use a zipper for your corset. You can choose to use lacing behind. So whichever one, if you're using a zipper, you don't need to minus anything. Just leave it the way it is. If you're using a zipper, leave it the way it is. But if you're going to be using lacing, there should be space for the lacing. So here I marked 2 inches. You can use 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inches, depending on how wide you want it to be at the back, or how much space you want to create at the back. So whatever you mark, you're going to cut it off entirely. If you're using a modesty panel, that's when it will be useful for you. But here we did not use any modesty panel, so we're just going to throw it out. It's no longer useful. I hope you're following. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. Am I talking too fast? Am I talking too slow? Okay. I guess someone is understanding what we're doing here. Like I said, if you're using a zipper, no need for this. If you're using a modesty panel, keep the what you've cut out and use it to cut your modesty panel. If no modesty panel, just cut and throw it away. So at the back, I didn't really fancy this, even though I did it. I would prefer it to be straight, but here I just needed a kind of curve below, just to give it something like a neckline, but it's not really so fanciful. You can leave it straight. You can choose to do this. Whichever one. It's okay. It's your choice. Okay. So we're still proceeding. Now remember we came down by 2 inches at the front, and at this point we're going to come down to from the waistline by 2 inches. Remember what I said, this is if you're not adding anything at the waistline. If your corset is just going to be only the corset, no cage art attached to it, the 2 inches is okay. Then at the CB, we're creating something like a basket effect also, but not as long as the front. So I came down by 3 inches and connected from the waistline. I hope we are good. Then extend the dart legs. Extend the dart legs because we're still going to cut our darts that point. I hope we are good, 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 good. The same to the front. All right, if you've not subscribed at this point, please, I don't know what you're waiting for. Kindly click the subscription button and turn on the notification button. So here I am redrawing the shape of the corset because I said I want to have a cage art by the side. I don't want the cage art to start below the waist. It should be fixed at the waistline so that it doesn't look like something that is not okay. It shouldn't be below. So at this point, we're not going to make use of that part again. We're going to cut it off. Our line begins from the waistline. That is because of the cage art. I hope you understand this, right? I hope you understand this. If you do not understand, please ask in the comment section and we're going to answer you. I will explain everything I need to explain to make sure that you understand. Even if it means making another video on this, I will do it. Okay? So at this point, we're making progress. We're making progress. We're making serious, serious progress. We want to cut the patterns out. Or cutting the pattern out. Okay. Remember, we've not closed our bust dart. We're going to close it after cutting. You can still close it before cutting, but I'm going to close it after cutting. So the other part is no longer useful to us. Now, here after cutting your pattern, you can notice that both might not be the same, depending on how it is cut. Using the way I cut this, the two of them are not going to be the same. So you need to add paper to make sure that they match up. And that is what I did here to make sure that they match up both at the front and at the back. Okay, now closing the bust dart, this is what we have. After closing this bust dart, rather, you might realize that it's not that straight. Some parts may not really be okay with the other. You can still add a little paper to true it. In pattern drafting, it's called truing. Okay, so just add paper and through it to make sure you have a straight line, just the way we did at the darts below, to make sure that they match up. I hope that is taken. I hope you can see the small paper there. I hope that is taken. Now everything is just perfectly okay. And here we've cut 2 pieces for each of the papers. 2 for the main fabric, 2 for the lining. So 4 for each of them. If you're using the same fabric, 4 for each pattern piece. If you're using differently, okay. So we've joined the pieces together. We've joined using our sewing allowance of 1/2 inch, right? Sewing allowance of 1/2 inch. We've joined the pieces together, and this is how to sew the bone. We're going to be leaving 1/2 inch at the up and 1/2 inch below so that we can turn the lining. You can join and turn the lining. Okay, now for this boning, you can add it as much as you want. It must not be only where you sewed. You can use it to decorate your corset. Add it no matter the amount that you want. It must not be only the place that is joined. So here we're making loops for the corset. You can see I sewed something like 1 inch, and now I want to turn it inside out, and I'm using a hand needle to do so. I want to knot the hand needle at the edge of this strap and then fix the needle inside. then use it to turn the um, strap inside out. You can see how I'm going to draw the rope. Use the needle to push the other parts in so that you can begin to drag it out. I hope you're understanding. It's not so easy and you have to be careful so that the rope or the thread does not cut. If it cuts, you need to start afresh. Okay, so easily draw it, gently draw it until you get what you want. I'm going to draw it like this and pull it out gently, rub it, squeeze it. Anyhow you can do it gently. You can see this one is pulling out finally. It's not so easy depending on the kind of fabric, but it's something that you can do to make it very neat. So I've cut the thread out and I'm going to cut this in pieces of 2.5 inches to fix it on the side that the loop will be. That is the side that we cut out the 2 inches like this, and then use my lining to sew it. Okay, and this is it. I've not fixed the lining yet. I just sewed the loops. You can see the way they are. Okay, on the both sides, and I've fixed the um, boning as well. I think I'll have to show us a video on how to sew a boning. Okay, so this is how we're going to attach the lining and use it to sew on all the parts, then creating a space where we're going to use to turn it inside out. You can see where I created the space to turn it inside out. This is the small space. Have to squeeze everything out from here. Then to cover it, I can use hemming gum or I'll need to top stitch. This is just for tutorial purpose. If it's something serious, I'm not going to top stitch because I need it to be neat, right? I will have to come out from below so that I can use hemming gum to hem it and nobody will notice whatever happened. Okay, you can see the inside. Very neat, right? Very neat. And I need you to try this. Try it and see how it's going to come out. So for the cage art, after everything, I'm going to show us how to cut and how we can fix. Okay, so I fixed the loops and the lacing, and this is what we have. So because of the 2 inches that we cut out, we have this space in between. So like I said, you don't have to top stitch like this if this is something serious. If it's something serious, I'll need to come out from this side and then use hemming gum to cover it and nobody will see it. I hope this is taken for neat finishing. All right.